It looks like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry may finally have to answer for the secretive web of money, influence, and quiet backdoor deals they've been spinning since stepping down from royal duties. The fairy tale that started with their exit from Buckingham Palace is now starting to look like a calculated business empire, possibly built on shaky ground, and now, the federal government wants answers. According to insiders, multiple U.S. agencies have quietly launched preliminary reviews into some of the deals made by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. This isn't just about money, it's about how that money was made, where it went, and whether U.S. laws were sidestepped along the way. And no, this isn't a tabloid rumor being tossed around for headlines. This is real. The kind of real that makes you sit up and start asking, what were they really doing behind the scenes? Let's start with Archewell, the charity/media brand that was supposed to be their beacon of change. Meghan and Harry presented it as their heart project, all about impact, positivity, and global betterment. But people who followed the money say things just don't add up. Donations come in, sure, but how they're spent, the exact breakdown of administrative costs, and the blurred lines between their non-profit and their for-profit productions have raised eyebrows. It's one thing to use your platform for good, it's another to turn charity into a business under the radar. Then there's the Netflix deal, one of the most public and high-paying agreements they've landed. On the surface, it's just a content deal. But dig deeper and you'll see whispers of misrepresentation, broken production timelines, and projects that were either dropped or mysteriously delayed. Sources close to the matter claim that the couple may have promised more than they could deliver, using their royal background as leverage, while leaving their partners scrambling. And let's be real, Netflix isn't exactly known for being patient when money's on the line. Now add Spotify to the list. That multi-million-dollar podcast deal? It ended abruptly. Harry and Meghan delivered only a handful of episodes before the partnership quietly dissolved. At first, it seemed like a creative difference or maybe just burnout. But according to recent whispers, Spotify's internal audit flagged inconsistencies in contract terms and actual performance. Nothing illegal was confirmed, but it was enough for executives to pull the plug and walk away fast. This brings us to the real legal heat. Reports have come out suggesting that federal tax auditors are now taking a closer look at Archewell's filings. There's no public statement yet, but the noise behind the scenes is getting louder. And when you hear about federal reviews, you don't shrug that off. That means someone somewhere saw something that didn't sit right. What makes this more serious is that Meghan and Harry aren't just regular U.S. citizens working a side hustle. They're global public figures who attract international money, media attention, and partnerships that involve cross-border interests. That means foreign income, residency issues, and tax implications. Add in the high-profile nature of their brand, and suddenly, federal regulators want to know exactly what's going on. Especially if donors, streaming platforms, or business associates feel misled or financially harmed. Let's not forget the royal angle either. While Meghan and Harry are no longer working royals, they've continuously marketed themselves based on their titles and former roles. There's talk that this branding might violate certain terms of their royal exit agreement. And if they've used royal insignias or implied royal endorsement in any of their U.S. business dealings, that's not just a problem with the palace. That could fall under international business misconduct. Sources close to the couple say they're not panicking, but there's clear tension. Their team is trying to stay ahead of the narrative, lining up legal counsel, reviewing contracts, and preparing statements just in case anything escalates. But from the outside, it looks like the fairy tale is falling apart. Meghan's recent silence and Harry's back-and-forth travels between the US and the UK only add to the confusion. And fans are starting to ask the one question that's hard to avoid. Was all of this ever really about freedom and purpose? Or was it just about the money? People in the industry are already distancing themselves. Quiet phone calls are being made. Media partners are reconsidering future collaborations. The shine of Hollywood royalty doesn't last forever, especially when real investigators step in. And let's be clear, if any part of these deals involve tax evasion, misrepresentation, or misused charitable funds, that's not just a scandal. That's jail time. This wouldn't be the first time a celebrity or public figure got caught up in the glamour and forgot the law still applies. But it would be one of the most high-profile cases if it goes to court. The Sussexes have always operated in a gray area, and now it looks like the consequences of that strategy may finally be catching up with them. So what's next? Well, that depends on how serious the investigations get and what they uncover. But one thing is certain, this is no longer just a story about a prince and his wife chasing a new life. It's a federal matter now. If any lines were crossed, it won't be brushed under the rug. And if the evidence shows wrongdoing, this could get them more than just canceled. It could get them jailed. This story is getting darker by the day. Behind the glitz of red carpets, charity speeches, and high-production documentaries, there's a storm brewing around Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's financial empire, and now, it's gone beyond quiet whispers. There's real talk happening between US and UK officials about whether their financial activities might warrant more than just public scrutiny. Yes, there are growing concerns about a possible arrest if these investigations uncover criminal intent. Sources close to both British and American agencies have confirmed that conversations are happening, and the Sussex's millions are now part of a complex international review. The focus? Where the money came from, where it went, and whether it was all above board. Some insiders are calling it a cooperative interest between the two governments. That's a diplomatic way of saying they're watching closely, and they're not afraid to act if the findings cross into criminal territory. Let's break this down. Harry and Meghan built their fortune on being royals turned celebrities. But their actual royal exit agreement came with strict terms, including limits on using royal connections for private profit. The palace may have cut them loose publicly, but legally, it's not as simple. If they exploited those titles in business negotiations, even subtly, that could be considered deceptive, especially if it influenced investments or donor funding in the US. And this is where the charity angle gets messy. Archewell is supposed to be a nonprofit, but reports now suggest there's an alarming overlap between its resources and the couple's personal brand. Former staffers have hinted that some funds may have supported projects with clear commercial benefits. That's a huge no-no in charity law. If money donated in good faith was used to prop up their personal ventures, that's not just unethical, that could be fraud. Federal tax authorities in the US are already reviewing filings. UK financial regulators are reportedly combing through historical records tied to earlier charitable work involving Harry, even before the move to California. One investigation alone is bad enough, but when both countries are coordinating, that tells you something serious is going on. And it doesn't stop at tax issues. There are rumors, still unconfirmed, but persistent, that major streaming partners, including Netflix and Spotify, may have quietly provided evidence to investigators. What kind of evidence? Things like contract correspondence, production logs, internal reports, and email trails that could suggest misrepresentation. If Meghan and Harry exaggerated their content abilities, padded numbers, or failed to meet key terms while keeping advance money, that's not just bad business. It could fall under wire fraud or breach of contract with criminal implications. Now, the words secret arrest talks are circulating, and while no charges have been filed, the fact that this phrase is even in the conversation says everything. Investigators don't use language like that unless it's on the table. They're looking at whether charges like tax fraud, charity misuse, or financial misrepresentation could apply. And if those dots connect, it won't matter that Harry was once a prince or that Meghan used to walk red carpets. The law doesn't care about celebrity. It cares about facts. Meanwhile, the couple has remained quiet. Meghan hasn't made any public statements, and Harry is said to be worried but hopeful, according to someone close to their inner circle. Their lawyers are fully engaged, and sources say a major PR strategy is being drafted, not just to control the narrative, but to brace for a possible legal hit. It's not hard to see how we got here. When you monetize your image at this level, and when you keep cashing in on your royal past while presenting yourself as independent, it creates a very blurry line. And now, investigators want to know whether that line was crossed on purpose. If charges ever do come, it would be unprecedented. A former senior royal figure facing criminal proceedings on US soil? That would shake not just Hollywood, but the monarchy itself. It could also complicate Harry's immigration status, something that's already been questioned based on past visa filings and disclosures. So, what happens next? This will all depend on what the investigators find, and whether there's enough hard evidence to build a case. But for now, Meghan and Harry's million-dollar empire isn't just under review. It's under threat. And the conversation about arrest isn't just tabloid talk anymore. It's real, and it's happening in high-level rooms where decisions get made. If this continues the way it's going, we might be witnessing one of the biggest downfalls in celebrity royal history.
Keep watching.
This storm is far from over.